Hello and welcome to the CineBeards Justice League special, I guess, review thing. Yeah, let's call
discussion.
Yeah, that's what they call it, but it's more than a discussion. For the listeners, we're going to start with a review, and then we're going to get stuck into a discussion about the movie. Then we're going to go into a little thing with Markus, where we're going to give him things that happened in the movie mixed with things that didn't, and he's got to try to tell the difference.
Yeah.
So I, of course, am your host, Jason Musicanth.
Hi, Jason.
With me are Markus Kneif.
Hi, Markus.
Hi, me.
And Deon van Heerden.
Hi, Deon.
Hi. Let's just do broad impressions first.
Yeah, broad impressions.
Very briefly, and then we'll put up a spoiler warning just before we get into spoilers. And despite sort of the making fun of it, despite all of that, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed Justice League. And that's exactly the expression I was expecting to see on Marcus's face, and I'm not shitting you. I enjoyed Justice League.
You know what? I did too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Justice League.
The three of us,
Objectively, it is a bad movie.
Yes. Don't get me wrong.
It's a very bad movie, but I enjoyed it.
We need to preface with, this is very much a film that was plotted out and already in sort of heavy production and all that stuff when Batman v Superman came out. At which point, obviously, people would have started panicking. It was very much done, basically, and then they had to do reshoots. At the time that Wonder Woman came out, and DC finally realized, wait, people want our heroes to feel like heroes, and they went into heavy retool mode with Joss Whedon at the helm, still following Zack Snyder's plan.
Yeah, this movie is still very plagued by a lot of the problems from BVS and Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's not a miracle, but one of the things that I've taken away in discussions with Jason and Thomas and Martina is that I almost don't want to focus on the negatives, because the negatives that are here, I know, were very much in place, and it feels like they've started to come around, seeing the error of the ways. If I just look at how it was retooled, the stuff that was very clearly reshoots, the stuff that was very clearly...
You can see the distinct jump in quality in the reshoots.
Yeah, you could see a massive level up. You can see a total refocusing on, wait a second, these are superheroes. I almost gave a hell of a spoiler there. My favorite spoiler. And honestly, that's why I've almost resisted being negative. I'm so jaded talking about Batman v Superman. I'm so jaded talking about Suicide Squad. And the issues that are here are issues that those films had, that this film inherited from those films. But if I look at what it's done to try and right the ship, I'm feeling a lot more confident going forward.
Yeah, the movie itself is bad, but what it promises for the future of the DCEU is distinctly good. And
there are a lot of, not just promise, but there are a lot of genuinely good moments.
Yes,
there are
very
a lot of,
much so.
It's
the
like,
final climactic battle, I've got to say, was one of probably the most rewarding superhero final battles in a long time, and I'm including Marvel movies.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. It was somewhere between, where Doctor Strange was a complete subversion, and Wonder Woman was just the worst type of thing. Like literally just throwing tanks at the boss. It was sort of like it was the sort of perfect middle ground where they're fighting the boss, but it's more about collateral, saving civilians. They felt like superheroes.
Yeah, the boss was not there. The boss wasn't why they were there, but more an obstacle stopping them from doing what they came there to do.
So what you're not straying too much into spoilers.
Okay, so without going into too much spoilers, you would liken it to... I almost want to say parts of the final battle of Avengers Age of Ultron, where some of the Avengers were also actively trying to save people.
I would not liken it to that.
Age of Ultron is one of my least favorites, and I'd say because it was just...
Age of Ultron fights into... It falls into a trap that a lot of the Marvel team-up movies have done, which is, hey, here's the heroes fighting a faceless horde.
Yeah, and there's obviously parademons. You've seen that in the trailers.
Yeah.
But that really isn't the focus. Like, those things aren't the focus. There's a bigger goal that they're having to achieve. And, I mean, each character, or most of the characters, have distinct... I mean, even Wonder Woman, you know, who you sort of think is going to come into this just fully fleshed out from the Wonder Woman film, is learning things about herself, about her role in the team. They all have these arcs.
A lot of it is a little ham-fisted.
Yeah, sure. No.
Like, it's really poor writing.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth seeing, and it is enjoyable.
Yeah. I think I probably feel a little... Then again, I like Man of Steel more than you do.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel more positive about it. It feels like, you know, if you've got a friend and they're beating heroin, like they're beating a heroin addiction, they're still gonna smell a little funny, right?
Yeah.
They're still gonna have a few teeth missing, but you're not focused on that. You're focused on the fact that, like, hey, he got a job. Hey, he's off the smack. Hey, he hasn't tried to steal any of my electronics in a couple of weeks. Like, you're focusing on that.
Yeah.
You know he's gonna smell like pee for a while still, but you know that sort of the future's looking brighter. And that's kind of the feeling I had. It's like looking at something beautiful through a very dirty window. Like, the dirty window is the sort of Snyderverse, that kind of like logic and aesthetic. I don't like the some of the things that I really like. I'll get into in the spoiler section. But yeah, overall, I would A, highly recommend watching it. B, I was very excited to watch it again, and did. It gave me feelings of hope, not just in the future of the DC universe, but also just like they felt like superheroes most of the time.
They felt, yeah.
It's
the majority of them felt like superheroes. There was one who to me didn't, and I'll get to that, but the majority of them felt like superheroes.
Yeah, it's gonna be. This film is, I mean, people think Batman v Superman was divisive, but that was divisive because some people are just really stupid. This is going to be divisive for all the right reasons. This is going to be divisive because it's going to be a question of, like, whether you're going to focus on what the film did right and what it's doing to right the DCEU, or the things it does wrong, which is baggage it's inherited. And both of those are equally valid.
Equally valid. That's why objectively it's a bad movie. Yeah. Subjectively, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing, and it's an enjoyable thing.
Yes.
That's what I was not expecting. I was expecting to be violated again. I was expecting like Suicide Squad levels of sitting there going, why did I pay money?
There were 2 or 3 moments in this movie where I was actually like a giddy child.
Yeah. Oh, towards the end, I was actually properly emotional at points.
Yeah.
And I did not
see it coming at all.
I remember just after the opening scene, you turned to me and said, "Wait a second, I'm engaged."
Yeah.
the little opening.
That opening scene just perfectly encapsulated the character involved.
Yeah.
And also addressed a whole bunch of shit that was wrong with the DCEU.
Yeah, immediately.
So
like,
out the gate, they're like, okay, look, we know we did wrong things. But
and
like,
I think who was it? I think it was Henry Cavill that said this film is a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
And I think it's complete. I think that those comments that he made, those candid ones with like, we know what we were doing wrong, we acknowledge it. It's got nothing to do with, oh, critics love Marvel, therefore they hate our films. We were making mistakes. We are righting the ship. We do think we know which way to go.
And he was spot on with it,
I believe him.
Yeah, I think he was spot on with it.
Yeah.
So, to sum up our like little impressions thing, please do go see it for yourselves.
Yeah. It's not a good movie.
It's not a good movie.
But it's a movie that's going to... because Wonder Woman was so standalone.
Yeah.
I think I felt it was difficult to take a lot of hope away from that because it was so insular and standard. This is part of this is the direct aftermath of Batman v Superman. Yeah, this is the big picture.
This is what's going to lead into the Batman.
I finally feel like, holy crap, we could actually have, within 2 or 3 years, the beginning of like a high quality DCEU and whatever expanded universe standalone films. Yeah. So
provided they recast a few roles.
Yeah. We'll get to that. All right.
Okay.
Cool. So spoilers. Clap. Spoiler time. Spoiler time.
There are spoilers incoming.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Real Superman.
Superman is so good.
Superman.
He's so good.
He is so fucking good.
Oh,
There's so little of it.
the
but
opening
it's
thing
just,
that we were talking about is
Oh,
a little kids video.
I'm getting
Yeah.
emotional
where
again.
they like recording Superman just after he saved the day, and he's like shaking hands with some firemen and like congratulating them for helping out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they run up and go and interview him for their podcast with a video for some reason. I don't think those kids know
Yeah,
podcasts
but
are.
it's little children's voices.
Yeah.
And they ask him like, so of all the people you've saved, how many did you save? And he gets a little confused by the question.
And then like the sign in your chest, does that really mean hope? But it's an S. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
but
it's supposed to
like,
be.
It's like a winding river, and a man I once knew.
He says,
foot-
a man I once knew told me
Yeah.
that hope
like-
is like your car keys. It's easy to lose, but if you look around, it's always close by.
And then just
Like, I've got
and then,
goosebumps here
then
thinking of the
what
little
comes
scene.
next, where they ask him like, "What's your favorite thing about Earth?" And then he thinks for a moment, and he gets this smile. I'm really getting emotional, and he just like looks off at the horizon with just this noble look, the smile, and just before he answers, it cuts out, and then it goes to like the banners, like the sort of Superman
Superman's
morning
gone,
banner,
yeah.
and they suddenly they feel earned
They feel earned.
more than anything in
Just because that little
Batman v
video
Superman.
in the beginning, they feel earned.
And you suddenly, and then anyway,
And almost
Superman,
to reflect the Superman, he's blue.
yeah,
He's not like a washed kind of navy color. He is blue
he
and
comes
red.
when he
is
comes
bright.
back when they've
Yeah.
resurrected him. At first, he is confused. There's no
Yeah.
buildings being destroyed, but he is confused. But once he's sort of we'll get into the recovery. Once he's fully recovered,
Yeah, I think the thing
he-
that makes him recover is also very important to the character,
yeah,
and that is seeing Lois.
yeah. Lois is
Like,
because
he's all
Batman
confused.
says,
Wait. So that in the trailer where he's in the cornfield and he's
No,
like,
no,
that was a
that-
bluff. That was a Disney level misdirection.
yeah.
That
so it
is-
wasn't a dream. That
No,
actually
That
happened.
actually happens, but that happens afterwards. That
Yeah.
scene of her looking at her pillow is right at the beginning with
Yes.
a poignant song
Yeah.
playing, going on about life. She has an amazing conversation with Martha, where like they actually let Amy Adams act.
It's a very small scene of her
Yeah,
acting.
no, it's a very small
but
scene,
they
but
let her
like, but
act.
you actually see her act. She's dealing with the fact that like she feels like she's let him down.
She's
You know,
not the burden that she was in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, she feels like, well, she's not being burdened down by the film as
if
much.
Yeah.
I could ask this because I'm going to ask some questions.
Please,
Yeah,
do,
no,
please.
so-
do. Sorry,
So
we're
would you
very
would
instructive
this
here.
this conversation between
Yeah.
Martha and Lois, would you liken it, because I know you've seen it,
Yeah.
that sequence in the animated Batman Doomsday
No, it's not when she.
where
no,
Lois
it's-
goes to Martha and says like,
No, this is like long after something like that has happened, where they're seeing each other on a regular basis.
Yeah, they're
And-
talking and
yeah.
joking around and like, but there's real like there's still like that weight
There's
of
still a
emotion.
heavy
and
emotion
the
behind
whole
it.
thing of that Lois is feeling is she's feeling like she let him down because she's not strong enough. She's not taking on big stories. She's doing fluff pieces. Like she's too emotionally broken up, and and obviously the man that she's broken up over is like the sort of demigod. So she feels like she's not like she's almost failed him by not being strong enough, and Martha sort of being the emotional support. It plays out really. It's definitely
it feels like real, like Amy Adams and Diane Lane, like for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually get to act, and it is very good.
It's. I mean, these all
Cavill's
these
still a
all
little
these
bit like cardboard.
all these
but-
great things are small doses, but they're enough.
Yeah.
You can spot. I guarantee you can spot the reshoots
Okay,
1,000 miles away.
To circle back around to what Deon was saying, like when he comes into the final battle at the end in his bright suit and stuff, first thing he does when he gets there is like, oh shit, civilians in trouble,
it's a
let me get them out of the way first before we do anything.
It's like the boss is right there. He stops, and they're like, "We need you, Superman. We need you to do this." And he just stops, close up of the side of his head, like, and he hears people, and he's like, "Civilians," and he just fucks off. And then he's like, off rescue. Like that's first priority for him. He just feels so real.
And then when he comes back in, he helps each of the members who are doing their thing with each of their tasks. It just makes it so much easier for them to complete what they're doing. He cares like about each individual member of the
So
Justice League.
wait. So instead of doing the thing where he just punches the villain really hard,
Ooh, he
which
does
is
get
what
a
he.
good
I know he
punch,
does.
though.
He
Like
gets a
a
good
real-
punch, and he gets good laser eyes, and he gets ice breath.
No, fuck off.
He gets
Ice
ice breath,
breath.
proper
I was
ice
so
breath. I was like,
excited.
yes, cheesy ass Superman. I love
Suit
it.
like full on cheese.
That
ice
must
breath.
have been
The-
Joss
the-
Whedon be like,
I
I'm
was
putting
so-
that ice breath
I
in
was
there.
so
You know how
happy.
you linked us to the OST, that track of the
Yes.
final battle. You know when you
Yes.
hear that do-do-do, that
Yes.
Superman rise. That's as he comes in and first punches the big baddie. As that punch connects and the guy goes flying, that
Yeah.
swells. And
Oh my
it is
god, that
so
would give
good.
me an erection.
Yeah,
It
but
did.
that's the thing is this movie has enough of those moments that I don't want to focus on.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
want to focus on
like-
what's wrong with it because it has that.
Yeah.
It gave me the Superman I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
for
and he
so
really
long.
and like he's
Like,
just
you know how
when
we
he's
always said-
floating there and he's
Sorry.
standing with the rest of the team and he is just bright blue and his
Yeah,
cape
the thing
looks
is,
majestic.
the team is also like all drab and Snydery before he arrives.
Yeah,
And then in that moment where he arrives, where he's back, they get brighter as well. Like, it just works so incredibly well. And you know how we always said that Cavill can do a good Superman
Yeah,
if,
and
if
he
given the
absolutely-
opportunity.
Yes.
He was given the
if they can
opportunity
give
and
him-
he has done it.
if they can give him Man of Steel 2 and they can let him be this Superman for a whole movie.
It'll be as good as the first
Yeah.
Donna Superman.
Yeah, I was gonna say it and then I thought I might get punched, but
No,
I'm totally sold on him.
If
as
they can
Superman
give us
now.
that Superman and an appropriate film world for
they
him
even
to live
they
in.
even do it's the cheesiest thing, but I loved it. But
Well,
I absolutely love
Superman is
Wait,
cheesy.
yeah, that's the thing. He's like, I like truth, and I'm also particularly fond of justice.
No.
I'm not even joking. But in context, it's just like this is just the film hugging you, going, "I'm sorry,
I'm sorry. It'll be
I'm
okay.
sorry." It'll
I mean,
be
it does.
okay.
It does have a little knife in its pocket that's stabbing you a little bit while it's hugging you.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's not just a leftover heroin needle?
Hey!
Yeah, that's probably what it is
Probably.
because it is.
Let's so we've gushed.
Yeah, we've got.
And there's still lots to gush about, like tons of wonderful little also belly laughs.
Yeah, there's some good belly
I'm not
laughs
gonna
in there.
lie, I'd say 20% in general, 20% of the jokes feel a little like crap, we need jokes, but there are a lot of properly earned, full-on belly laughs.
Yeah,
They are, and
a few of them feel a little inappropriate for the character who's
Yeah.
giving them, but they are still good goofs.
I'd rather they sort of err on the side of just a little too much for now, and then
and
so
then
they're
course
like,
correct.
Yeah, and then course correct. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I thought a little bit about what you said about, say, Batman's got a couple of quips. And I thought about it, and I didn't agree with you initially, because I just enjoyed the levity.
Look,
but-
he's a pretty good Batman. They just gave him too much humor to do because the whole thing of it is Batman's supposed to be the straight man in the group.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's probably got about 40% of the jokes.
Yeah.
But that is again, that is an inherited problem because WB
Yeah.
with this whole project thinks we have to focus on Batman because
Yeah.
Batman is what
Yeah.
sells
What
tickets.
what I do like about it, but I am on board with what you're saying. Where it does work to an extent, they go too far. But where it does work is, Batman is incredibly self-serious, right?
Yeah.
And what they're trying to do is they've got Diana trying to like make him see the light, basically, and to make him see like, hey Bruce, look, there are other people who are willing to fight. This is not just your fight. Look at how your body's like. I mean, Batman is like bruised and he's broken. He's old. Well, not old, but
Yeah.
he feels
He's
like
been
he
doing
can't
this for
really-
20 years
yeah.
already.
And it's just, and you start seeing the sort of the sense of hope creep into him, and the sense of like having friends, I guess, in a sense, just like
Yeah,
the
something
sense
that's
of-
new to him since, I guess, the tragedy of Robin. It's the first time he's like actually
Yeah,
connecting
like,
again.
And I think that's where they erred, is like where it would have been enough to just have him have a quiet little smile,
Yeah.
just this
Or
feeling
just a
of like
single word to
human-
Clark.
Yeah, where they felt like they had to hammer that point home a little too hard.
Yeah.
But again,
To be fair, a few of the lines that he says did make me laugh.
Yeah.
It just felt a little inappropriate for the character.
yeah, but overall, I take that over too self-serious Batman. I mean, because he's assembling this team, and it's working out, and they've each got their quirks and their characters, and they're really likable. So we've gushed a lot. I
go on a bit of a negative rant now?
I was gonna say, let's quickly get the sort of the negative stuff that's not inherited necessarily from like Batman v Superman. I mean, like for instance, Steppenwolf is full CG and he looks like shit.
Yeah, he's the worst villain that's been about in
I mean, I'm a big Marvel fanboy, but he's a Marvel villain essentially.
Yeah,
like
DC's got the best rogues gallery, and this is the shit they give us.
Yeah, that's what's absolutely.
So we could have had an Android Brower voiced Darkseid, but
we
instead
do. No, we will because he does say to sort of cleanse the earth or whatever for Darkseid, and then cut scene. You know, like So, but he's totally disposable. The CG looks like shit. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
DC.
Damn it. Okay.
But, okay.
I know where you're going.
The thing I hate most about this movie, and I hate it, after watching the movie twice, after thinking about it a lot, I hate this. Fuck Ezra Miller's Flash. What a bad character. I hate him more than I hate Jared Leto's Joker. I would take a full Jared Leto Joker movie over a Ezra Miller Flash movie.
I don't feel as strongly. But Jason A has a right to, because he obviously has more attachment to the character, and B, the first time round, I was just so overwhelmed with this totally unexpected movie that I was enjoying
that you missed the subtle racism, the subtle anti-Semitism there.
Oh, that too. But there was a lot of stuff that I just sort of let go past me. But when I watched it the second time, and every time Ezra Miller was on screen, Jason literally tensed. Literally, I could feel it. And when I was looking at it through his eyes, and I just realized, oh boy, did I give this thing way too much of a pass. It's not good.
Okay, so tell me about it.
You've seen every single character that Jay Baruchel's played, right? That stereotypical klutzy Jewish guy.
Yes.
That is the Flash in this movie. I'm 90% sure that this part was written for Jay, and they couldn't get him. Because it is just so almost offensively klutzy Jewish guy stereotype. Almost offensively so. And the thing is, Barry Allen is a hero before he's the Flash.
Yes.
Barry Allen is probably the bravest person on the Justice League. Next to Batman, who I guess isn't really brave because he doesn't really feel fear that much. But Barry Allen is the heart of the Justice League. He is the most well-adjusted member. I mean, he's the first one to get a family and actually settle down and actually fit in society with his actual alter ego. Yeah. With Barry Allen. You don't get this with this Barry Allen. The Barry Allen that you get in this is a coward. He is afraid to save people. He is not very well adjusted, and he's basically what they did to Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman. They did to Barry Allen in this.
That's what I wanted to
And that is a massive problem for me, because I was on a forum a while ago with a bunch of people discussing their favorite DC heroes, and somebody on there summed it up really, really well when they said, my favorite hero from the DC universe is Barry Allen. Not the Flash, but Barry Allen, because of what he does. And it feels like Zack Snyder, when casting this arsehole as Barry Allen, didn't pay any attention to who the character was. All he did was, oh, that's a name from the Flash. Let me just take the name and only the name, and then get a character with
What he wanted is what I feel is that he holds his audience in contempt, and he wanted the Flash to be the character that the audience relates to, and the audience that, as he imagines it, is sort of maladjusted.
Well, who else can like comic books, Deon?
Exactly.
Fuck Zack Snyder.
Yeah, fuck him hard.
I have one question though.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zack Snyder messed with the Flash, right?
Yeah.
Where can we call that an inherited problem.
No. This is unique to
This
this
is
film
uni-
because we
well,
haven't had.
I guess it is kind of inherited in that the casting was done while Zack Snyder was still at the helm of the entire DCEU.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was
So it's
he
inherited
had
in that
written
way.
the script.
Good point.
And I think Joss Whedon just tried to add
Yeah.
some jokes that obviously didn't
There
land.
is okay. I'm going to say a few things. The first thing is, what you said, the Lex Luthor comparison.
Yeah.
When bad writers want to write characters who are too smart, who are like just really smart and they're thinking really fast.
Yes.
They talk like this, and their eyes dart around a whole bunch. That same acting notes that Jesse Eisenberg got are the acting notes that
Lord.
Ezra Miller got.
Did none of them just watch an episode of CW's The Flash?
No, apparently not, and that's the thing. How do you not get Barry Allen right when there is a perfect, easily accessible version? You don't need to look at any of the animated movies. You don't need to read any of the comic books. Just watch one or two episodes and you got it.
And it's got the highest ratings of the Arrowverse shows last time I checked. So it's the character, like that Joe audience,
Yeah.
who doesn't.
They're trying too hard, I think, to
But
distinguish
despite
him.
all of this, like so many of the critical outlets I've seen are
Calling
praising him.
they're calling him the highlight, which is bullshit. Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
Aquaman annoyed me a little bit because he was Jason Momoa man, not Aquaman.
There was one scene when he's walking with Batman, walking and talking like, "Hey man, I just want to be left alone." Like that got it, like that I felt.
That was a little bit. That was a little bit
his-
Arthur Curry, but the rest of the
but
time he was
his-
Momoa man.
But his, to me, he kicked it. Remember, like I'm coming at
Yeah.
this as a totally neutral to the source material, like I don't know it. As an audience member, he was badass because he felt fully invested in the character. The character, I understood him, I understood his motivation, I understood who he was from very little information, which they're usually very bad at doing. And he just felt kick-ass enough that like he's going to be like a favorite for a lot of people watching it. Not me necessarily. Wonder Woman is far and away.
Dude,
I mean,
Superman. Without a doubt, Superman is my favorite part of this movie.
but Superman's in it for very little.
I don't
I'm
care.
talking
It
about.
could have just been the video in the
Yeah.
beginning, and Superman would have been my favorite part of
Okay,
this
cool.
movie.
Fair enough. But Wonder Woman of like the sort of the core team for the majority of the film, like Wonder Woman just totally steals the show for me. Ezra Miller, what I think they're doing, and I'm not saying this is right, but I think their logic for Barry Allen, the way they wanted his arc to be is that and his father says it as well, it's like he's being held back by this, like, obviously his father's
Arrested
innocent,
Development, kind of.
yeah, exactly, that he's like, and his father says, I want you to stop coming to see me. I'm holding you back. Oh, you've got these dead-end little jobs that you're working. You've got all this, like...
So he doesn't have a career.
Yeah,
he's
totally socially stunted because his whole
he's
whole
a
life,
Big Bang Theory character.
It's close, eh? So his
It's
whole
not
life...
close, it's spot on.
But his whole life is... And as I say, I know this is sort of not Barry Allen, but I'm just saying the logic in the film. Is that he's being held back by the fact that his father was sort of wrongfully imprisoned, and his whole life revolves around that. Like, he has not grown or moved on from that. And at the end of the film, end of the film, now that he's joined this group, and now that he's, now it's your downfall. Now that he's joined this group, now that he's sort of, he's found a bit of, the lions found his courage and all that, he actually goes to his father at the end, and he shows him, like, he's got he's got a low-level job with with the forensics lab. So it's a different take. It's not a good take, but that's the logic of it, I think.
See, the thing is, it's not a take on the character, it's a take on the name. It's got
Yeah.
nothing in common with the actual character of Barry Allen, it's just the name that they've inherited.
Yeah.
And for me,
So
that's a bunch of crap.
So that's who he is.
Would you have been less offended if he was a reimagining of the Wally West version of the Flash?
Yeah, if he was called Wally West, it would have been a little bit more palatable.
He was still annoying.
Yeah, no, I'm just specifically talking.
If it was young Wally West, like when he first started out, when he was still Kid Flash,
yeah,
yeah, Sure, it would have been a little more palatable, but still not great.
Yeah.
Because the character himself is just far more annoying and never as endearing as Wally West was. Even at Wily West's least endearing, and this Ezra Miller, I don't even care to say his name properly, Flash, at his most endearing, they never meet.
Okay.
Yeah. He does have one of the best sight gags in the film.
Yes, he does.
There is one absolutely outstanding
Please do.
sight gag. It is amazing. Okay.
Set it up a little bit first.
Okay, cool. So,
throughout the...
If you want to set up, you're going to have to do it, because I'm just going to tell
Throughout the movie, you see, like, leading up to this point, you see Flash running in slow motion and everything around him just, like, almost frozen in time.
Yeah.
And then...
You saw it in the trailer.
Yeah. With the thing and everyone... So they do that a couple times to kind of set up that that's what happens. And then once Superman is, like, revived and he's a little angry and he's fighting the Justice
he's
League.
angry and fighting, and it's also, it makes sense that he's angry and fighting because he's confused and he's, like, looking at everyone
And
and seeing in that X-ray vision.
Cyborg's suit
and then
takes over.
Cyborg's suit goes into defense
Because, you know, it does
mode.
that reactionary thing.
Yes.
On a side note, Cyborg is done really, really well. We'll get to that
Yeah, we're
now.
going to get to that,
Okay.
and you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. So, in this fight where Cyborg, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman are trying to hold Superman back, Barry Allen...
No, just say...
Ezra Miller...
Just say Snyder Flash.
Snyder Flash runs around, like, super quick to try and flank him.
Yeah.
Like, go behind him.
And
he's just busy running, and he's looking at Superman to see where he's going. And as he's looking at Superman, Superman's busy holding Wonder Woman and Aquaman and all of them. And Superman's eyes just start following him.
just like this, like... and then his face, like...
And Snyder Flash's face just starts like, oh shit.
Like, what?
He can see me?
and Superman's looking really pissed off, like,
Yeah.
and just following him. He's like, oh. It's really good. And there is a wonderful moment, although they screw it up at the end, but that wonderful moment from the trailer where Wonder Woman's flying for a sword, and then he runs around and he just, like, touches it up. And then obviously, hey, clutchy Jewish stereotype, he trips over his feet.
It would have been so much better than that scene if he had gone around and just subtly helped all of them.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been
But that moment...
incredible.
that moment until he trips is really, really good. That's why I said there's a lot of these sort of one-off things. But yeah, fuck
It's
this,
basically
this
something's
incarnation.
going well, and then Zack Snyder jumps in and goes, hey, it's my movie!
Yeah.
Okay,
so the Flash sucks. Steppenwolf sucks. The Parademons were cool.
The Parademons were pretty cool.
I don't know. I don't know their comic origins.
Aquaman, he doesn't suck, but he's not good.
No, but he might not be good, but he's cool.
It feels like they're trying too hard to make him cool. Probably why they cast Momoa. Cyborg, done excellently.
Yeah,
Cyborg is good. I
CG
cannot wait for the solo
The
movie.
CG is distracting, and despite that, he is just one of the most engaging characters in the film. So well acted. Again,
Probably the best performance in the film, acting.
yeah. Despite the fact that they just took his performance and then CG'd it, but like super engaging, great voice work. Just really like, and his scenes. A lot of his scenes are just really well paced.
And I was getting really nervous because the entire movie he was being like very super serious, almost like Flashpoint Cyborg. And then just as like, oh no, they're gonna make him too serious, he shoots off his little booyah catchphrase, and I was like, yes.
And he
It sounds like you like this. You guys like the silly things that happen in this movie.
no, it's not silly things. It's things that are
Things that make the superheroes.
Yeah, it's things that make them feel human. But you know, they're the superheroes.
Yeah.
But those human qualities, they're not these sort of like tragic Greek figures. You know, super incredibly self-serious and absorbed. Like they are likable and relatable, and yet more.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're
see, the
they
thing is,
feel
I'm
like
liking
they're
it when
things to
it's character
aspire to.
appropriate. Just like I didn't like it when Batman was being silly, because he's not a silly character.
Yeah.
He's not an overly cheesy character.
He is very
Superman is cheesy.
I think
Okay, wait.
honestly,
Modern Batman is not silly.
Well, yeah, if you go
You
back
do
to
not
the animal
discredit Adam West.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But for me, if he's given, you probably won't agree, but I feel if he's given the right script, like a script that does him justice, Batfleck will probably be my favorite Batman.
So if
Favorite
he
live
writes his
action
own
Batman.
script.
Obviously.
Like,
Oh,
I just want to clear it up. I just want to clear it up.
There's just not there, but there's no human being who's ever been born who could possibly be Kevin Conroy Batman.
Yeah.
The person doesn't exist. Science hasn't got to that point. It's not gonna happen. Like, let's just give up on it. I'm talking live action.
Yeah.
Because Bale was good, but I was never totally sold, and I absolutely hated his Bat voice.
His Bat voice wasn't great. His Batman was good, and his Bruce Wayne, at least in Batman Begins, was really good.
Yeah, I did not like Dark Knight and Batman, Dark Knight Rises Bruce Wayne. I don't know. It felt
Batman Begins Bale is probably my favorite live action Batman at the moment.
Because for me, I like this older Batman. I like his world weariness. I like I'm sort of going to look past sort of the overt tacked on jokes, but that sense of like almost a broken man who's now sort of starting to heal and mend and get the sense of hope towards the end of his career. You know, I like how charming he is. I enjoy his presence, and I like his Batman. This time around, even though the suit was still really bulky, that opening scene where there's such a cool opening scene with Batman, where it's classic, and it's Danny Elfman scoring it as well, and it just feels like this is Gothic Batman. You know, this is the right Batman.
So you get
And
those Danny Elfman chords.
And
You
get
know,
this,
criminal-
Marcus?
Yes.
He doesn't kill a single person.
Yes, you know all those guns on the Batmobile.
Yes.
Right? He uses them once against parademons to sort of clear the way for people, because he's literally got like a signal that lures the parademons, and he's like trying to like outrace them to distract them from the rest of the team.
Wait, so he's got like a bug zapper light that's.
No, he uses
Yeah.
he uses the guns on the to
He uses
shoot
it,
the.
but he's never
Yeah,
using
yeah.
it on human beings.
Yeah.
And at one point they actually acknowledge it, because he's got like this huge, what do they call it? The bug thing?
Yeah.
That's sort of like this
The
massive...
Prowler, I believe.
The Prowler.
Yeah, the Prowler. Like, that's sort of going... And everyone's fighting the sort of... The parademons and so on. And he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't bring a sword. And he's shooting them down. But he never uses it on humans. He barely uses it at all. I was so happy about it, because I was scared when I saw...
It's not even like
the Comic-Con
collateral
Batmobile.
human damage that's
Yeah.
there. It's
the Comic-Con Batmobile that had more guns on it.
That had me really nervous.
That had me really nervous.
Oh,
And I'm
the
glad
scene-
that the heroes, like, they didn't kill people.
Yeah, they didn't kill people, and the parademons didn't just become like an Ultron army. Like, they were there, they were swarming, they were something to be dealt with, but they weren't the focus.
Yeah, the fight at the end wasn't like the heroes clearing ads while Superman took on Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
It was all of them in a coordinated, almost like instinctual way, fighting as a team against
And each one fulfilling their role. And
So-
that's what
except
So-
for Flash, who's just injured off to the side.
Okay, so what
yeah,
we're
he-
saying is what that promise that Zack Snyder tried to make at the end of Batman v Superman, where Superman and Wonder Woman was sort of working together. We finally get a payoff to that promise in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
Where it's actually well choreographed and it looks seamless the way they all work together.
It felt like they were a
enjoyed the
proper team.
The team dynamic. Even though Snyder Flash was bad, I did like the opopportunity it gave Batman to take a little bit of that leadership role.
Yeah,
because
he
he's
was
saying
the
like
tactician
he's
of the
saying
group.
like, I'm scared of bugs. I'm scared of I'm so scared the whole time. I'm scared of doing all these things. I've only pushed people and run away. And then Batman says, just save one person. And he's like, what then? And then he says, you'll know. And then, Snyder Flash goes, rescues one person, and then that instinct.
Yeah, it was
Kicking
really
in.
nice that Batman wasn't like slap, get your shit together.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
heroes. You're here
He
to save.
says,
He's
like,
like, okay,
just save one person.
just save one.
Yeah.
And that for me was a one. Not despite Snyder Flash, that was a wonderful moment to give Batman. I also enjoyed that they touched on the fact that Wonder Woman, despite being like Wonder Woman, has very much been in the shadows
Yeah.
for like 100 years. I like the
At the end of the movie, when it's Amy Adams busy essentially narrating the article that she's writing, it's really just the new heads of the DCEU speaking to all of us.
yes.
Really, they're saying like,
So that
even
that
though
was like,
things have been dark, she literally says, even though things have been dark in the past, hope has always been there.
Yeah. So
that's Jeff Johns saying like, we fired Zack Snyder, everything is cool now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There's a really good dynamic, I think, with Batman and Wonder Woman where there's some conflict, and she's telling him like, you need to move on, Bruce, from the thing in the past, and he says, oh, did Steve tell you that? And because. And she sort of and she like and she just gives him like just one solid shove.
Not even like Superman's gentle push from Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Like she shoves him.
Yeah, like and basically he says to her like, listen, I didn't even know you existed until a while ago, until you were sort of pulled out from the shadows with this photo.
Yeah.
You've got this amazing power. Why aren't you more visible, giving people? And I like
And then
that.
at the end, in like the little closing montage, you see her there, like in the spotlight.
Yeah,
Like,
and she actually says to the team like, follow. I can't remember the exact phrase, but like on my lead. Like she steps up and she's like, I'm gonna lead this team.
Well, I mean, she has by a wide margin the most experience.
no, I know, but
Yeah.
but she's been in the shadows. She has been helping people, but she hasn't been allowed herself to be a beacon.
Yeah.
And he says like, look at Superman. He put himself out there. He sort of and being a leader is difficult because if people die that you've inspired, it's like it's your fault, but that's part of it. You have to learn. You have to be able to. And she's been dealing with the fact that Steve died essentially.
Because
she
of
feels
her.
because of her. And Batman says like, that's part of the job. And then she's like, she steps into like the role of inspiring and leading and becoming more of a, because that's something I'd wondered about just as a film goer.
Oh,
Is like,
that
why
would have been such. That could have been such a
Wonder
cool
Woman
line.
is like a Wonder Woman in her film. She's fucking winning the war. She's going all this stuff, and then in Batman v Superman, everyone's kind of like surprised when she shows like, why isn't she a bigger figure in this world?
There's
And
so much good in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just a pity that it's dealt with so ham-fistedly.
Yeah.
Like there's a great line that Batman gives
Because-
that if it was
because-
delivered better, if it was delivered in a way that was more heartfelt, it would have been really so much more impactful than it was. And that's when he's busy speaking to Alfred about resurrecting Superman. And Alfred's like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, he might be at peace. And Batman's like, he's more powerful than me, he's stronger than me. And Alfred's like, that doesn't matter. And then Batman says, he's more human than I am.
Yeah. Because
Which-
he's lived in this world, he got a job. He's actually lived like, he's basically saying like, I've been behind my money shield, behind my name the whole life in the shadows. And like Superman is essentially more human than I agree that definitely wasn't delivered.
If
as
that
well
was
as it could have
delivered
been.
with a nice bunch of impact behind it, it would have
But
been
again,
great.
it all tells me this is course correction.
Yeah.
They've noticed their mistakes, and aside from Snyder Flash, I'm very, very happy with the team.
Yeah, so
Like I know I like Batfleck probably a bit more than you do.
I like Batfleck. I don't like that they gave him so many jokes.
Okay,
That's
fair
my
enough,
only
fair
problem with Batfleck is
Yeah.
the number of jokes.
I
they
think
give him.
him with like a really solid script behind him, especially with the standalone film. I think that'll be fantastic. I think if they can tone Snyder Flash down, like again,
First prize, recast him.
yeah, that ain't gonna
But
happen.
it's not going to
I
happen,
think.
especially now with the praise that he's
One
been
thing
getting.
that I like. Oh, okay. Wait. Let's talk. Yeah, sorry. You go first.
No, I just had one question, and then I think we can wrap this up?
No,
Because you
no.
guys will go on forever.
No, there's two little scenes I want to talk about.
Okay. The one thing I want to know, so Superman doesn't self-resurrect in this continuity.
no,
he
no.
gets resurrected.
He gets resurrected using the amniotic fluid, like Zod was mixed with the mother box.
The mother box, which
suffers some electricity from Flash.
In the birthing matrix.
Yeah.
So it works. It works perfectly fine.
It makes sense it makes sense in continuity.
And there is not as much sort of like resistance to the idea as there maybe should have been. But
but I'm just thinking that is kind of like even though it makes sense in the universe. I mean, Batman knows this technology exists, and I mean he's seen it at that point with Doomsday. And in Victor Stone with because I assume they use a mother box.
There's a great little line around it where Batman's trying to convince them of this, and he's being a bit of a dick at the time, and Cyborg, like at the end of Batman's speech, is like, "I agree with you." He's like, "Oh, you do? Yeah, I was running the numbers while you were busy being an asshole, and it seems like it could work."
No, but I just think it's still sort of weird to actively try and resurrect Superman.
There's a logic to it that I can't remember word for word.
No, I'm sure
it's not the best logic.
Yeah, I'm
for
sure
it,
there's
but it's pretty much, I think, like as logical as you're gonna make it. And I think the fact that they've established that Cyborg day by day is like becoming more connected. Like one day he can fly where he couldn't the day before. He's evolving. He's sort of because he was sort of the product of one of these mother boxes.
Yeah.
And then like one day he discovers he's sort of connected to everything. And he's got like surveillance footage from the Bat Cave.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So the fact that he can calculate and he has access to all the information on this, and he can then say, I agree with you because I ran the numbers. It's just a nice little way of saying, like, the plan's insane.
But Bruce Wayne knows what he's doing.
And Cyborg can confirm that it's probably.
No, I just still think it's like I said, I'm sure there's internal logic, but it's kind of weird.
It allowed them to bring back some of the Man of Steel soundtrack when they go into the chamber.
Some of the Krypton theme as they go into
and
boom, boom,
goosebumps again. Like I freaked out when they're in that chamber and doom doom like. Woo!
Okay, yeah. So what are those two things you want to say before we wrap up?
Is post credit, or is the two stingers?
Yeah, the two stingers.
Okay.
First stinger.
First stinger is really fun.
Oh shit! Just before we go into the post stinger, another thing I hate about the Snyder Flash is that when they cast this idiot, they didn't check that he can run like a human.
Oh, honestly, I've been trying to figure out. Actively what the logic
What does he
was.
Naruto run or something?
No, he flails his arms around.
I was at the beach today and yesterday, and I actually had a realization when I was watching one of the guys run into the ocean. And I'm not joking. You know where you're running and the waves are just starting to like come up to like say the middle of your shins? How people start running?
Yes.
Like that as they're going deeper into the water. Yeah. That is exactly how Flash runs. It was exactly that.
Yeah, with the legs kind of coming up sideways.
Yeah, like coming up sideways and the arms sort of doing this.
But
it was exactly that.
But physics, and I'm gonna break Jason now. Physics-wise, that makes sense.
Physics-wise,
because if he's still new in his powers, which I assume he is, he's one of the recently outed metahumans. He's still getting used to that type of air pressure running at those high speeds.
Which is probably why Deon brought up the.
Alfred Hitchcock is gonna disagree with you. When they asked Alfred Hitchcock, why don't people in thrillers go to the cops? Because it's dull.
Yes.
Right? It's the film that matters. It's the experience of the film rather than the logic.
Yes.
If the logic dictates that it should look like shit, you ignore the logic.
Yeah,
and it looks
they
like
should have
shit.
done it here.
Okay.
It took me from quite angry with him to I just want to punch him.
This is like I'm sitting there really enjoying this film despite the flaws, and like the first time around, as I say, Ezra Miller bugged me. But I was letting it slide just because I was so overwhelmed by like the fact that I was enjoying so much of it. And that was the moment, like towards the end, when there was like this extended shot of him running. I was just like, fuck him.
Okay, so now that that's out of the way, the two stingers.
Okay, the two stingers. One stinger is fantastic because it gives us more blue Superman.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's with Snyder Flash, but it's funny because it's sort of this thing that's been going on.
Oh, let me guess, they have a race.
They have they have this sort of friendly competition the whole time, you know, like where Superman, where he goes like, oh, civilians, you know, and he goes off to help. There's too many of them. And he flies next to Flash, you know, he's like slowpoke,
yes.
and then he's
He
like,
says
I'll
to
take the ones
Flash-
on the right, you take the ones on the left, and then Flash runs off, and like there's this family with their stalled Bucky, and he tells the little girl like, hold on, and then he pushes them to safety, and he looks so
looks
satisfied,
so proud with what he's
and then
done.
he looks off to the side, and here's Superman flying by carrying a building.
Just an apartment building full of people.
Like, and then there's some really good banter between them, which I just like, because it was just this breath of fresh air, like Superman bantering.
Superman
and
was
teasing bantering
with
Flash.
everybody.
Yeah.
He was bantering with. He was Superman.
And it just felt so natural. And then they race, but then also you can tell them.
Second post like the stinger right at the end. You see a big mega yacht. Well, no, it starts off in a prison.
Oh, yeah.
With a bald guy facing the other way, and the prison guard's like, Mr. Luthor. Like, Luthor, Lex, come on, like, turn around, like, let's get going.
Oh, can I guess?
Yeah.
It's not Lex.
It's not Lex.
What?
And then it goes...
You know what?
What a
For a moment, I thought they'd recast him.
Yeah, and
this
they were going to turn around and reveal the new...
And they were going to reveal the new one as a which I was excited about, but the rest of the teaser was still good.
Yeah, and then it shows this big mega yacht, where obviously Lex Luthor is now, with a smaller speedboat coming up to it, and then it goes onto the speedboat, and you just see an orange and black suit with two swords.
Oh my God,
strapped on the
Deathstroke!
back. Oh my God, Deathstroke! Dude. Going towards the boat, walks up to a much more toned down Luthor.
Yes, that's
much more
That's
toned
what I
down
wanted
Luthor.
to. That's why I said I feel like they can't save him, but I feel like they're gonna do that with Ezra Miller in future films.
And then they tease the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, they've got a like Superman. Batman's forming like a league of sorts. Like, I feel like we should have one of our own.
And God damn, does Deathstroke look good?
Dude, it is fucking
Like,
incredible.
it's almost one for one pulled from the comics, and it looks good.
Wait. Does he take off the mask?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does he have
He's
white
got an
hair
eye
and
patch,
an eye patch?
White
Yeah.
hair, white goatee.
Dude, it is ridiculous, because sometimes, I mean, you got like Batman's sort of like armor suit that he uses in Batman v Superman, where it's like, this does not translate to the real world.
Yeah.
Deathstroke looks freaking amazing.
And the fact that it is that Joe fella, and he's just gonna tower above everybody.
Oh, Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, he's just gonna tower over everybody.
I was so happy about that,
be
because
so
obviously they announced his casting, and then it just looked like he wasn't going to be in the film. And I was like, well, that's a hell of a waste.
Yeah, because he was going to be in Justice League, and then he was going to definitely be the main antagonist of the Batman movie.
Yeah.
And then it was just sort of like, okay.
I'm glad that they stopped that, because he should be given like credit where credit's due, and he's got to hold his own against the Justice League, like by himself. Because there are a couple comics where, pretty much fighting 7 Justice League members, he outthinks them, outwits them, and outfights them. And like, while he's at a power disadvantage, he's got super soldier serum and stuff like that, he does manage for the most part to hand them their asses.
Yes, because he's a born and bred combatant. Also, he laces his shit with
he's
kryptonite.
Batman with super soldier serum.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
So
I want him given his due
what
and
you
have him just hand the Justice League their asses.
Yeah, he just looks just so hype. I was and what you said about the toned down Lex Luthor, I think they've heard the fans loud and clear, and like, they're not going to recast Jesse Eisenberg, but I think if they can keep going in this direction, because he already I want to punch him in the face less.
Yeah, he looks much better.
He had a little bit of the
and in this nice
thing,
suit,
but you can see he's a lot more confident, a lot more sort of relaxed,
and a lot more
commanding almost.
Do you think with him now out of prison, right? obviously he can't go back to running LexCorp. He's a fugitive, right?
Yeah, he's a yeah, he would be a fugitive.
He
in
would
this.
be a
Yeah, that's
fugitive.
true, yeah?
Now, in your opinions, and Jason will probably chime in more than you do on
Yeah, for sure.
but do you think they want to, or Jeff Johns' idea is to try and morph this Jesse Eisenberg into more of a Silver Age rendition of Lex Luthor? The megalomaniacal, like just straight up supervillain instead of
Yeah, it looks
corporate
like they're
Lex.
going to go for supervillain Lex rather than President Luthor,
Yeah.
which admittedly was super cool in the comics.
It was super cool, but now it would just not read
No,
right.
it would not read right, but I think they're going to go for the
Because I would love to see him wearing a purple shirt. You know the one from
Yeah.
the Super Friends. It's this purple shirt with this weird ass collar that just sort of curls unnaturally.
Well, he
Yeah.
looked
Look,
really snazzy in his
he
suit.
looked really snazzy in
White
that suit,
suit.
and it's really looking like it's going in the way of his exosuit. Like I can believe within the next couple movies he will be in that gaudy purple and
Towards
green.
the end of whatever the next one he's in. Almost
Yeah.
certainly.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, he needs some technology from Apocalypse to build it.
Not necessarily.
Well, he needs outside technology to try it. They've got to find some way to justify having no helmet.
Oh, that's fine. That's easy. Either apocalyptian technology from Justice League 2, which they're obviously already in like
Or
pre-production.
Kryptonian technology, because they already used that with...
Now they wouldn't go Kryptonian, or they would go Kryptonian, but if the rumors are true and Man of Steel 2's main antagonist is what people want it to be, Brainiac, that would
Yeah.
give Lex sort of the most advanced things to build the exosuit possible. And then he would keep it also green and purple because that's also Brainiac's thing.
On an unrelated note, I really, 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 really hope that Man of Steel 2 has more flashbacks to Krypton. I rewatched that opening scene recently.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Holy shit!
Beautiful, and that Krypton theme. I
That's
just need
the,
more
well,
of
I
that
mean, like
Krypton
I
theme.
think 80% of it's music, but there's also just some beautiful design in there.
Yeah.
Like so much fully fleshed out detail.
Well, if
But
they
we
go-
can talk about this stuff in the
Yeah,
news
sorry.
thing that's gonna follow.
Oh, sorry.
Let's-
I was listening to the Man of Steel soundtrack while I was driving here, so I was
Okay,
just
yeah.
thinking about that
But yeah,
again.
to wrap it up, this movie definitely worth seeing.
Worth
I
seeing
cannot wait for you to
despite
see it,
being-
Marcus, so we can discuss it properly with you.
Yeah, despite
Okay.
being a bad film, it's a film that gives me a lot of hope and gave me a lot of joy in
Yeah.
small concentrated doses. And my God, real Superman. If nothing else, go for that.
Yeah.
So, 7 out of 10.
No.
No, this is a 4 out of 10 movie.
This is a film that I refuse to give a point score to.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true. Like, it's so difficult to kind of nail it down.
Yeah,
So, IGN would give it a 7.
IGN did give it a 7.
IGN gave
Did
it.
they?
Yeah, IGN gave it. A
Nice.
7.
No, because that's the lowest score they could possibly give anything.
Yeah, no.
Zing.
Actually, I'm totally abstaining from giving any sort of indication of a point score, because if I give it a low one, I'm still recommending it, but I can't give it a high score because it's got all these terrible flaws. So
Yes.
Yeah,
Just-
it's a lot of good things and moments lost in
no
kinda
poking up from.
poking
say.
up from.
I'd say they're put on top of the morass instead of the morass was put over them. Like I'd
Yeah.
say these things. Yeah,
There are
you're-
these
you're
good
looking-
things emerging from something that is a mess,
Yeah. It's looking at a beautiful thing through a murky window.
Cool.
and that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
It's like watching Blade Runner 2049 on Peasant 2D.
Who would do that to themselves? I mean, if you're
Nobody-
desperate.
Nobody would. Nobody. I don't think.
No, I'm
anyone
just
would
saying
do
that's
that.
that's a good watching
no,
something
no,
beautiful through a
No,
murky
no,
window.
that's understating it. It's like watching Blade Runner 2049 on an airplane.
Yes. That's a good note to end on.
Okay.
Okay, so for the purposes of surprising Marcus, we've recorded this part first, and this is the things that did and didn't happen in the movie.
All right. Where's my?
Because if we get into the review, he'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah,
also.
yeah,
So
for
you
sure.
guys would have heard the review already, but Markus hasn't.
Okay, cool. Do you want to do
Fantastic.
this? Do you want to do this, Jason? You'll probably be. I have
Okay.
WhatsApped Jason a list of things that I thought of as I remembered them.
Great.
He was getting WhatsApps from me at all hours with things that did, and some suggestions for things that didn't happen, and yeah. So let's do these in groups of 3. Let's do these in groups of 3.
Okay.
I am legitimately excited.
All right, Marcus. So
Okay, so I've got 3 of them for you here. First one. Wonder Woman gets into a headbutt fight with Superman. Second one. Superman is resurrected when a grieving Lois goes to his grave and a tear seeps down through the dirt. And the third one. A poster featuring Superman, Prince, and David Bowie shows up with a headline questioning whether these heroes were aliens who'd returned to space. Which is the real two? Which is the fake one?
Okay. As crazy as it sounds, I'm gonna say, firstly, that poster is real. It just has to be. Because if it isn't, this movie does not deserve to be made. And I'm gonna guess... No, the tear is too soppy for Snyder. I'm gonna go with the headbutt fight. That's more his speed.
So you're saying
So
the
you said-
headbutt fight happened and the poster happened?
Yes.
100%. Good
Correct.
job.
Okay, you can do the next one, Deon.
Oh god. Okay, let me get this here. Okay. Okay. Here are 3 things, all of which totally happened. So, Flash and Cyborg slowly dig up Superman with spades while having a leisurely conversation in the cemetery. Another one is that Steppenwolf is revealed to be a demigod related to Wonder Woman. And the third one is that Flash says racially charged after trying unsuccessfully to bro-fist Cyborg.
Oh my god! I don't want any of those things to be true.
Well, 2 of them
Two
are.
of them are.
Oh god! Oh, you know what? Okay, so... Wait, what was the middle one again?
The middle one.
The middle one was Steppenwolf is revealed to be a demigod related to Wonder Woman.
You know... Cyborg and the Flash... fist bumping. Racially charged. That sounds like a post-sexual creep Whedon type joke, so that's definitely in there. And... They would probably make Steppenwolf a demigod, because then they would try and bring Wonder Woman into the whole new gods thing. So yeah, those are the 2 real ones. The spades, that didn't happen.
You are wrong, sir.
You are wrong.
No, they do not just stand there and casually dig up Superman's corpse with spades.
Yep.
They literally, it's literally a Shakespearean scene where it's just the 2 of them bantering while very slowly digging up Superman. Remember, this is the Flash and Cyborg.
Yes.
And they're doing it at human speed.
Why?
And
With
the Flash
spades
says,
and not
and,
like-
and the Flash says, I could do this a lot faster, but it just feels like a little wrong. It just feels a little disrespectful.
Fuck off.
It happens.
No.
Round 3 here. Number 1. Flash doesn't know how to use an 80s phone headset and holds it at 90 degrees to his ear and mouth. Martha describes Lois as the thirstiest girl Clark ever knew.
Jesus Christ.
And after Superman is revived, he's still a little bit tweaked from the death thing, sees Batman, and a fight ensues that destroys some buildings.
Martha does not call Lois thirsty. That has to be the odd one.
Is that
out.
your final answer?
That's my final answer.
You are wrong,
You
sir.
are wrong, sir.
Clark always described you as the thirstiest girl he'd ever known.
No!
And then she stops and she says, hungriest girl. And Lois gives a look.
Oh, no. That's so mid-90s Whedon.
Oh.
But you'll be thankful to know that the one that doesn't happen is the fight that breaks buildings.
Yes.
Which means that Flash does not know how to use a phone.
He literally sits while talking to his father in prison with a 90s headset.
Yeah.
You know, or 80s headset like this, but literally pointed backwards. Like for
Why?
most of the scene, and it's pointing to behind him, and nobody noticed this. Nobody realized that this means he can't hear his father. And his father can't hear him, but it's not a problem.
No, it's no problem.
It looks ridiculous. Okay. So after Superman is resurrected, he's really weak, and his robot helpers, I can't remember what they're called, they take him to the Fortress of Solitude to heal. The chamber, which was used to mutate Zod, and which turned him
Into
Doomsday, is used to resurrect Superman. And the first thing that Lois says, or one of the very first things that Lois says to Superman after he comes back to life is, "You smell good."
That's a tough one.
Superman rebirth round here.
Yeah.
That's a tough one because just from thirsty girl and Jason's phone, I'm just going to assume that she would say something like, "You smell good." But how does a reanimated corpse smell good, though? Like, surely he just smells like Batman and regret.
Okay. So one of these did not happen. Either Superman's robot helpers, or I can never remember the name, take him back to the Fortress of Solitude to heal. Lois tells Superman, "You smell good," after he just came back from the dead. Or the chamber that was used to turn Zod into Doomsday is used to resurrect Superman.
That chamber was probably seized by the government after they found Lex in all the fetus blood. Doomsday fetus blood. Remember
Yes,
that?
I remember that.
You remember that clearly.
Distinctly.
So that's the one that's not real. The helpers would come and get him, and I guess Lois would say he smells nice.
You are wrong, sir. You are very wrong. The helpers was the fake one. She does in fact tell him, "You smell good," and he is in fact reanimated in the chamber that was used to turn Zod into Doomsday.
And he doesn't become a Doomsday himself.
No, because of the power of friendship.
God damn it.
Well, this was a fun game.
Is he at least?
Do you have any left, Jason, where we could just do a true false?
We have one left that's a true false,
All right.
and that is the Justice League leave the MacGuffin unattended in the parking lot, and the bad guys just come and take it. True or false?
No. For the love of God, let it be false.
What's your
sorry,
final
buddy.
answer, Marcus?
It's false. No.
It's true! Hooray!
Damn it.
Yep.
This was a fun game.
For us, at least.
For us. For
I
one.
still have to watch this movie.
Well, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that's a me problem.
Yeah, that's very much a you problem.
Okay, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was fun for us.
That was incredibly fun and deeply sadistic.